All right, Connie, Tommy Bowden, Terry Don Phillips now at the podium. Let's take you to the news conference.
Welcome everyone to our press conference this afternoon. Appreciate you coming on short notice. Let's turn it over to Coach Bowden, who will make a statement, and we'll turn over to Terry Don.
Terry Don approached me this morning, and we both agreed that this is probably the best solution for the program at this time. Clemson has been very good to me and my family. Both my children have degrees from here. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity that Clemson gave me and the support that the administration gave me while I was here. I also want to appreciate, thank the players and the coaches that worked so hard. I wish them nothing but success, and then I will be their biggest fan on Saturday.
Okay. First of all, I greatly appreciate, I think y'all know I hold Coach Bowden in great respect. Tommy's done some marvelous things for our program. We've had some good successes, and our off-the-field issues, our academic issues, many good things. He's represented this university in very positive fashion. He's been a very good ambassador for Clemson University, and we're very proud of how he has represented not only the athletic program but the university in general. And this is a difficult time when you go through changes like this. But again, I want to just emphasize my greatest respect for Coach Bowden. I do want to clear up something very quickly that appeared in the national network. Coach Bowden was not fired. And I think it's, and I want to just elaborate on how this transpired. Of course,
we were hearing there from Terry Don Phillips, the athletic director at Clemson University. We've reestablished the signal. We're going to take you back to it.
Since we have of the program, the opportunities of the program. And the weekend was a difficult weekend. So early this morning, I came in. I don't normally beat Tommy in very often, but I did this morning, and felt like it was important that he and I sit down and visit with regard to where our program presently is, looking toward the future, the goals that we had for our program. And quite frankly, those goals are still achievable. We can still win the conference. We can still go to the Orange Bowl. Now, I know our backs are to the wall, but that can still happen. But as we talked about the program, it was Coach Bowden that put this on the table. He said, well, in looking at things you know, the cloud that is over the program now, you know, we got recruiting issues, we got morale issues, and he said, you know, there just comes a time when the time is probably right to step aside. And so he put that on the table. We discussed that, and he made the offer to step aside for the good of the program. You know, I accepted that offer, and that's why we're in here today. But again, I want to be very clear that he was not fired. He put it on the table. He put it on the table for the sake of the program, and like I said, felt like there's a time that that it's right to move aside so that the program can move forward. So that's how this transpired today, and so that's why we're here.
Tom, when you came to work this morning, did you think this would be the outcome?
No, not necessarily. certainly the conversation we had was a candid conversation. And I was being honest with regard to where I saw us and going forward in the future. But no, my intention was not to ask for his resignation and certainly not to fire our head football coach.
Did you try and persuade him differently?
I'm sorry, Brian.
Did you try and persuade him differently on these things?
No, Ron, once we, we had a good long conversation before this got on the table. And when it was put on the table, we discussed it, and we both mutually agreed that we think that's the best thing to do, not only for the program, but for him personally.
How long was the conversation?
Oh, we talked a pretty good long time. I don't time them. It was a good long conversation. I mean, I don't have an hourglass to see how long I'm talking.
Did you have to reach the ACC title game?
I'm sorry, Paul.
In your conversation with him, did you express at all that he was going to have to reach a certain level to keep his job after this year?
Well, our goals were to win the conference and go to the Orange Bowl. And we both understand the sense of urgency in winning a championship. And last year, quite frankly, when the Arkansas situation came up, and I recommended to President Barker and the trustees that we extend Coach Bowden's contract and preempt that particular situation, that I thought, given the players we had returning, our schedule, and really looking at the strength of the conference, that this was a wonderful opportunity where we could get over that hump. And that's why I felt so strong about keeping this staff intact and being fair to the seniors on this team and the players on our team, so that we didn't have disruption and we'd have the best opportunity going forward. Obviously, that hasn't worked out for us, but we know what our expectations and goals were.
Did you intimate to him that he would not be?
Well, we both, Paul, I didn't have to. I mean, we both understand that the conference championship was critically important, because that's, you look at Tommy's record. He's got a very good record. He's done a lot of great things, but when you get in year 9, 10, 11 in that category, and you haven't won the conference, then it becomes a credibility issue. And this is something we talked about last year at the end of the year. So it wasn't necessarily a new conversation or a new topic.
How long before you got Dabo in the seat of the interim coach? I mean,
How long have I got him there?
No. How from the? I'm not asking
from
how
the
many
time
minutes,
that Tommy and I had the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, did you think about?
Well, Tommy and I talked about Dabo. Tommy thinks a lot of Dabo, and I certainly think a lot of Dabo, and I felt that Dabo would be a person, because of the intangibles that he brings to the position, how he coaches, how he relates to people, how he relates to players. I think that he's got a very good opportunity to pull this thing together.
So is it fair to say that by the time he left, you knew that he left your office, that Dabo was going to take over?
Well, actually, we met in Tommy's office this morning. Yeah, that's sort of like the hourglass. I don't think there's any secret. I mean, I've said this publicly. I think Dabo is an awfully fine coach. I think I like how he coaches on the field. I like how he presents himself to the team as well as to the public. He's got a great family. He's got a great background. I mean, I think he's an excellent coach.
Don, you obviously thought that this couldn't go on till the end of the season, that something had to be done now.
It was going to be a week by week kind of proposition. It got to that point that even if you continue to win out it's still going to be a week-by-week proposition, and that's sort of the corner that we got ourselves in and got our backs against the wall.
Okay, we've all heard that there was this enormous fan pressure on you from big money people to do this. Is any of that true?
No. There's dissatisfaction, there was frustration, but and there were people that made their, obviously how they feel, that they made their feelings known to me. But again, the dynamic was such that it was going to be a week-by-week proposition. I felt like we're going to need to win out, and we have the capabilities of winning out. That's the thing about it. And but when you get into there, and as we talked about that dynamic, that's when Tommy put it on the table. He said, well, there's probably a time for anyone to step aside, and what do you think? And as we talked about it, I said, I agree. I think.
Did Bowden have the option to continue coaching?
Yes. Yes.
How much money are we talking about here, Terry?
Huh?
How much money are we talking about here?
Well, we're going to fulfill our contract.
Which is how much?
Well, okay, now what are you asking?
How much is he going to get for leaving?
Well, he's going to get his buyout.
Was it $3.5 million?
It's $3.5 million payable over 6 years.
So he'll be paid as head coach through the end of the year.
Yeah, it finishes, his contract, as it stands, finishes November 30. And then in this economic times that we find ourselves in, that these are non-institutional funds. I think we've done, of course, we're blessed with wonderful support from our people, but we've done a good job in the department of having a fund balance, a contingency fund, because you got to have that for situations such as this, or bad, rainy days, or, things of that nature. And so we're financially sound to handle what we need to handle.
Why do you think, sitting here now, that with everything that you guys had coming back, with the situation, the opportunity that was out there, why do you think this did not work this year?
If I could answer that, I would probably go to Las Vegas. I don't know. It's just something happened. It just didn't click.
Two-part question here.
Pretty much being given a 6-game trial to show that he could be the head coach. I mean, is that on the table?
Well, I think that's helpful to Dabo. And like I told Dabo when I asked him to assume the interim head coaching position, I can't provide any guarantees to you. You do the best job you can. You'll have an opportunity to interview for the head coaching position, but certainly we're going to go nationally. We're going to try to find the very best coach that we can that's a good fit for our university, and someone that we have confidence in. And but I also told Dabo, I said, you're the head coach. You behave like a head coach in the sense you make your decisions with your staff and your team, and you go on down the road, and I'll support you.
Is he paid as a head coach for the rest of the year?
Huh?
Is he paid as a head coach for the rest of the season?
No, he's got to earn his spurs on that pay now. Now we'll help him on that. I mean, we're going to be fair to him, Ron, but he's got a long ways to go before he gets up to some of the levels.
Was the meeting with Tommy emotional at all? Was there any emotion between you guys about when realized this was going to happen?
Well, yeah, there's emotion involved on both sides because Tommy's been in the business for over 30 years, and to one day you're the head coach, and the next day you decide it's time to step aside. There is emotion. There's emotion for me because this is an extremely difficult part of my job, and also early in my career when I was coaching, I've been on a staff that's been let go. I understand what it is for families. I've sat around that table, and I can remember it just like it was. It happened yesterday, where I saw very good coaches with families and obligations and responsibilities, and it was tough. Unfortunately, back there, they only gave us 30 days.
$3.5 million kind of softens the blow, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly softens the blow, and the buyout's part of the business. I know that's going to be something people will want to talk about, but buyouts are a big part of the marketplace, and that's just invariably something you have to deal with.
Do you worry about that situation from Friday to over the weekend to last night? Did that factor into your thinking in any way, and did that play a role in this?
We didn't talk about Cullen. We talked strictly about the program, the direction, and recruiting. If you could continue to have this cloud hanging over you, how it's going to impact us, and everything just sort of melds into that.
Reportedly said that he got what he deserved. Have you heard that?
Well, I heard that, and I'm not going to comment on that.
What about
dissension in the coaching?
Huh? Rob Spence, has he also been dismissed? Has he resigned? Has he been fired?
Well, I was asked, I think Ron asked me that question, and somebody asked me that question about Coach Spence, and y'all going to meet with Coach Sweeney after practice, and y'all need to ask him that question.
Do you worry about dissension in the coaching staff, considering you got two guys in Vic Koenig and Brad Scott who have been head coaches, and Dabo's never even been a coordinator?
Well, I've got confidence our people are professional, they're competitive, and they want to win, and they want to do the very best job they can to win, and so I have confidence our people are professional and will work hard to do a good job.
Do you see it at all as kind of a sad commentary on college athletics that a coach does virtually everything right and exceptional in many cases, and it comes down to this, that he...
Yeah, but by the same token, a head coach at the college level, there's several factors. One, it's different than being a professional coach in the sense of that there it's all about winning. And here you've got academic issues, you got how you represent the university, you got a lot of constituencies on a university campus that how you go out and what you say about the university, how you support the university from an academic perspective, and what kind of representatives are your student athletes to the public. There's a lot of things that meld into that, and they're very important, but there is a point where the competitive portion will override, the awfully good things you've done in these other areas. I've told coaches before in visiting with them that what will happen if a coach is struggling on the competitive side of the equation, but they're doing the right things with regard to their kids academically. They're doing well academically. They're doing well off the field, and they're representing the university well. That will buy you time to get the competitive balance there. So I think the track record at Clemson University is one that we have been supportive. And Tommy has done a good job, but there were times we could have knee-jerked and done some things if that's the way we were, but I don't think that's the way we are.
So the competitive aspect of it finally caught up to him?
Certainly, and that's just that's the nature of the business.
What about the other business aspect of it, the fact that you just had another record season ticket sales, you had the seat equity plan, which cost people more money than ever before to have the right to buy those season tickets? Did you feel it would be hard to sell that same bill if it was the same program, the same thing again next year, taking the economy and everything else into factor?
Well, I think anytime you don't have the team, or you fall below what your goals are and what reasonable expectations are, regardless of what we had done, there always would be fallout in that regard.
A short list of candidates in mind that you take a look at the season.
We have a list of people that that are on the list, and there'll be people that will appear on the list that we don't have on the list presently.
Would you like to see a different style, especially on the offensive side?
I just, I want to win, Phil. I mean, and I want to have, I want to go to the Orange Bowl. I tell people, I really don't care if they stand on their head, so long as they stand on their head legally and ethically, and we can win. That's part of it. So the last head coach I hired was Les Miles, and I always liked how he coached. I liked how the kind of kids that he had under him, and I don't know if that says anything, but huh?
Terry, John, you've been a coach, you've been a player. What do you think the mindset is among the players now? It's just quite a jolt in the middle of the season for any 18 to 22-year-old kid.
Well, I think, one or two things can happen. One, they can go into the jar and say, well, the season's over. What I think will happen is I think that they will rally around Coach Sweeney, and like I told the players in the brief meeting I had, this is not a throwaway season. We can still accomplish our goals. We can still win the conference championship, and we can still go to the Orange Bowl. Now, granted, some other teams have got to help us get there, but we can still have that kind of season that could be special, particularly given the circumstances. So I think they will rally around Coach Sweeney. I think that they're going to play hard. I think they have pride, and they want to be successful. And so I might just see how they respond. But
in your mind, is there a standard that Dabo has to reach in order to be a legitimate candidate to replace Tommy?
No, I think that's one of those things. Sort of like when when you take the kids on a trip and they say, "Are we there yet?" And you say, "Well, we'll know it when we get there." And I think you'll get a feel and have a intuitive feeling on how you feel about things. It's like the last two coaches I've been involved in hiring, Les Miles and Mike Gundy was part of the deal, and both of them were unproven. Mike didn't even have a job; he just gotten fired at Maryland, and but it was important to bring him back because of the attributes he could bring to the program. And Les was coaching tight ends for the Cowboys, but you just intuitively feel that this is the right guy. And I think if anything, you get more familiar with someone that's in that position, and you get a feel. So I'm not sure I really answered your question very well, but a lot of this stuff is how you feel the person will fit with the university, how they blend with the people, certainly their background, and I know a lot of people get, they say you got to go get that proven head coach, and that's always helpful, but just because they're proven somewhere else, it may not necessarily fit at your place, and I'm just, I don't mean to pick on Les right now, particularly in the week that he just had. But when we hired Les, he was our second choice. We felt like we needed to get that proven head coach out there, so we made an offer to Dirk Cutter, who was at Boise State, and Dirk had done a marvelous job at Boise State, and he was the one who really got the thing going out there. And Les was our second choice. And then it was one of those things where we made an offer, and Dirk accepted the offer. Then the Arizona State thing opened up, and he unaccepted and went to Arizona State. And right now he's not at Arizona State. I don't know what happened out there. He I think that, you know, they went to a bowl game every year, and they were doing some good things. But bottom line is that we went to our second choice, and that was Les, and he came in and did a great job for us. So you never know.
If you feel like the season can still be salvaged, if you could still win the ACC with some help and get to the Orange Bowl, why not stick with Tommy? I mean, you just lost faith in him? You lost
I'm sorry.
You just lost faith yourself in Tommy's ability to lead this team? Had he lost the team in some way, you think, and this is why you're in the position you're in now?
Well, you know, Phil, we were obviously struggling. And again, it was going to be a week-by-week proposition. I mean, you keep winning, and you keep questions still emerge. If you don't play well, that's going to be written and talked about. But even if you still win, and again, I think as we talk through those things, that's when Tommy put on the table that that there's a time that maybe you just need to walk away, and I think Tommy's very comfortable with his decision.
Why was Tommy not going to take questions up here today?
When you get him, you'll have to ask him. He just felt like it. He wanted to say what he wanted to say, and then move out.
Had you any inkling from Tommy over the weekend that he had called you saying, I want to talk Monday morning, Saturday night, Sunday night, or say anything to you, or did he tell you this morning, like, I made a decision Sunday night, I want to tell you this morning, or do you feel it came this morning, or had he thought about this over the night and said, yeah, I made a decision Friday night, I'm out, I'm going to tell you today, or any inkling of that?
No. This is one of those things that you know, there were certain things that, you know, I was mulling over the weekend, and you know, when you lose a game like we did at Wake, and of course the Maryland game, you know, those things wear on you, and you know, I took a couple of days myself just to reflect on just issues myself, and then this morning when I came in, I visited with Tommy, and again we were having a good conversation, and he put it on the table. So,
were there any previous conversations, maybe since the Maryland game, that were kind of along the same line?
No, I see Tommy every week, and I just basically it was one good luck, and let's go get them and try to get this thing turned around, and so, you know, there wasn't a gun to the head. Did
you consult President Barker? Did he offer recommendations at all at that point?
Yeah, I visited with President Barker yesterday, and talked about several things, and made him aware that I would be visiting with Coach Bowden this morning, and just have a, just talk about the program and have a candid conversation.
How difficult has it been to listen to the national perception of the program here, especially in the last couple of weeks? Just people calling it not tough, soft, as a leader of the program, so to speak. How difficult has it been, and does that play a part in all of this when the perception is not good?
Well, Jeff, that is difficult to see the the perception that's been out there, and that's a perception we need to turn around, and this team can turn that around. And but again, that just blends into everything. That you start off, and personally, I believe this was a year that we were going to get over the hump, and we just didn't get there. Now we might, but obviously we're not going to get there under Tommy's leadership. So, yeah, those kinds of things when you look at where you thought you would be, and you're not there. Yeah, that certainly that's a disappointment. But again, Tommy Bowden is one of the hardest working coaches you'll find in America. got a tremendous work ethic. This coaching staff works hard. And sometimes things happen internally that you don't know, and it just doesn't click and doesn't mesh together, and I think that's what we've seen.
Did you get in around 6 this morning? Do you know when it was?
It was.
Was it before 6?
No, it was just a little bit after 6.
And this discussion about the week to week.
We heard it just moments ago, a statement from Clemson's head coach who has stepped down, and remarks from Clemson's athletic director as to why it happened. News Channel 7 at 5:30 starting now. We'll be right back.